Hey YouTube, welcome back to the Slice of Knife. My name is Alex, and today on the Slice of Knife, we're going to take a look at one of my favorite knives of the year. Well, I should say the big brother of one of my favorite knives of the past few years, I guess. It was actually the original, but today we are going to look at the Kershaw Iridium. So Kershaw came out with the Iridium. I believe this is I think this is a 2023 knife, and then I believe in 2024 is when the Mini Iridium came out, which has already been reviewed on this channel. So please take a look at that video if you'd like to hear more about the Mini Iridium, which is a blade that I absolutely love. I love the size of that knife. And just the feel, it feels so premium. As they say, punches well above its weight class in what it's made of at its price point. And we'll take a look at the big brother, the original to that thing. We'll take a look at this one, and I mean, it definitely feels premium. It's a little heavy in the hand, but I mean, it feels good. So let's take a peek at this thing. Let's do some. Well, you know what? Actually, let's talk about it. So it has a aluminum finish, very smooth. I would call it, it's a smooth aluminum. I wouldn't call it quite slippery. I mean, I guess there's a bit of a feeling of texture, but it's definitely a very smooth finish on those scales. It has a reversible deep carry pocket clip. You're going to get that end top tip, not super concealed, but still nice. It fits well in the pocket. It's got your crossbar lock, which is likely, if it's anything like the Mini Iridium, likely very strong. So it flips open like a dream. This happens to be the reverse Tonto edition, which I actually do really like a lot. The jimping on it is actually, it's small. There's only 3 jimps. They're pretty aggressive though. Like they can dig into your fingers. So they're definitely going to hold you there. That's for sure. It might almost be too aggressive for some people, but they, it's going to do the job. You're not gonna be getting slipped around on that thing. But we are going to take a look at the size of that thing and all of its little specs here. So let's take a look at that. The specs. So everyday carry knife. Let's see, reverse Tonto, a plain blade edge. No serrations or anything like that. It's on KVT ball bearings, thumb stud open. The Loctite, the Duralock Classic. Um, this one's the black finish and has the silver or gray pocket clip. Let's see, blade length 3.45 inches, D2 steel. So D2 steel, as you know, or as you might know, takes a good edge. It's very strong, but the failure that it has is its corrosion resistance. So not a knife that you're going to be recommended to use in wet conditions, but if you do, just make sure you wipe it clean and dry. You can always give it a little oil as well. When it closes, it's 4.5 inches, so you got like a 4.5-inch handle, so definitely larger. It's a 2.8 millimeter thick blade. Let's see, it's an anodized finish, which I do like that aluminum anodized finish. I mean, it definitely looks nice. This, much like the other one, I'd call kind of that executive knife, although being in black gives it that sort of tactical look, but there's a few different color schemes for this. Overall length, 7.95 inches open, so definitely close to 8 inches, very large, and 3.5 ounces. So it feels heavy. It's a heavy 3.5 ounces. Now, that said, it does feel strong. It feels solid. I feel like I could do a little bit of work with this thing. Like not just cuts, but I mean, I feel, not that you would ever do this with a folder, but the weight and how it is and just how it feels in your hand, you almost feel like you could baton this. I am not recommending batoning a folder. The most common place for it to fail in batoning a folder would be right here in this pivot area or in the lock. Absolutely not recommended, but my point is it feels like you could baton it. It's got that good size. I could see it just being right there and just giving it a think, think, think. It just feels like you could. Not saying you should. I'm not saying it would even be a good idea. It might last it. You can do that on your own, but I don't know that I recommend that. Be safe, everybody. But it feels like you could do that. In any case, that reverse Tonto blade, very nice. Feels almost a little thick. We can try out some sliciness on this thing. Let's get my old piece of paper. Give that a go. Oh. Okay, so super slicey out of the box. just did a video on the Pyrite and the Pyrite Light, anyways. CJRB Pyrite Light, great knife. Could use a little sharpening up on its AR9 RPM steel. This certainly does not feel that way. This thing was buttery smooth cutting through that paper. So, you know, you got a winner there. Let's do, you know what, we'll do an open and close size comparison. So the best comparison I can give you, well, not the best comparison I can give you, a good comparison I can give you though is, let's take a look at the juxtaposition, fancy word for the difference, between the mini iridium and the iridium, its big brother. So mini iridium has been on here before. If you haven't seen it, you know, it's got its nice little brassy backspacer, brassy pivot screw, spear point blade, very nice, flips good, and just buttery smooth. Just a wonderful knife, wonderful knife. But its size, so closed up, you know, you're talking about ½ inch smaller, and then opened, it's about a full inch. The iridium is about a full inch, maybe even over an inch. Yeah, that's going to be a little over an inch. I need to get some tape on this show. I need to get a little ruler or something, you know, be a professional. But then let's also take it and let's throw it next to the Rat 2, just for funsies. Got that there. So Rat 2, you know, very similar size. And then that Rat 2 is beat up. I'm going to really clean up its edge. And then you have one we just did. Let's move the Rat 2. We don't need to have all these. Then you have your Pyrite Light. So Pyrite Light they're almost the same size. You got about a quarter of an inch. I don't even know if it's that much. Maybe a quarter of an inch difference on the size. So, but weight. I mean, I know the Pyrite Light is lighter than the Kershaw. They're very close though. Not a huge difference. All right, let's see you later, Mini Iridium. In any case, super slicey blade with that flat grind on this reverse Tonto. I mean, very nice. I do like the blade a lot on this thing. I mean, honestly, thing feels great. You know what I feel like I'm thinking negatively about this. I think I like the Mini better, but that's just because me personally, I like a smaller blade. I really like a 3-inch or less blade. This was, what was it, 3.5, almost just about a 3.5-inch blade. It's just a little larger than I like for everyday use. That being said, I don't think it's bad. I think it's a good solid blade. I mean, I think the blade's beautiful. Let's put it that way. General, hey, is this a nice knife? Yes. Is this thing a 4 out of 5? Absolutely. Probably a 4.5 out of 5, honestly, for a knife between $30 and $100 in that budget range. You get this thing. I mean, you're getting. I mean, it's almost this is, what does this retail for? 80, I think, typically. Although you could probably get it a little cheaper. You know, if you go from Amazon or something like that, or secondhand, you can certainly get it cheaper. So it retails for 80 on the Kershaw site right now. So for $80, you are not going to beat this with the D2 steel, the size of the blade, the aluminum finish. I mean, yes, you go to like Freedom Knife, you can get maybe, like I've done on this channel, you can get a Hogue Deca, which I didn't love. Now, don't get me wrong, that is Magna Cut steel on that thing. It's a super nice knife. It's a little lighter than this. But honestly, as much as I like a lighter knife, it didn't feel solid in the handle. The Pyrite Light is a good example of this, where it's not as light as the Hogue, but if they gave it that full liner inside of the scales, those FRN scales on the Hogue, I would probably like it a lot better. It would make that handle feel solid. The Hogue literally flexes when you kind of bend at it. I don't like that at all. The blade is beautiful, it opens awesome, but not great. This is not about the Hogue, but I'm saying the Hogue deck I got from Freedom Knife Shop, like 109 or something like that. This for $30 less, aside from the fact that it's not Magna Cut steel. And this is from Kershaw. This isn't from like a Freedom Knife gets, you know, like almost these crazy wholesale prices. So I think you could find the Iridium. Actually, truth be told, I got this Iridium, I believe, on eBay, and it was brand new on eBay, but it was $40. So At $40, this is a ridiculous deal. At $40, this is a 5 out of 5 knife when you're talking about a under $100 knife. There's not anything better. At 80, I'll take a half star off. 80 is probably a little high. If you can get it for 60, then you're probably back in that 5-star range. So value on the knife, great. Again, awesome knife, fits in the pocket well. I mean, it's a little large, but still slides in. That aluminum makes it doesn't catch on anything. I like the pocket clip. It works well. I mean, it sticks up a little bit. Let me say this. When you're holding this, let's feel it. Let me feel here. Full grip. And so I have smaller hands, I would say. But this thing fits in there. It feels good in the hand. I'll say that. I mean, again, and now I am a mini Iridium person, so when you talk about the mini, you put that in my hand. That's like more closely to the size of my hand. Having a small hand, it fills it out almost exactly perfect, and I put it right in there, and I got a good grip. Compared to this one where it's a little larger, there's some extra juice at the bottom there. Again, it's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just bigger than I would like. So again, when you have to measure those things, like this knife is a 5 out of 5 for value at the size and price, or size and steel and all that kind of stuff that it is. You can't beat it. This one, for the $40 I got it for, you compare this to the Pyrite Light, this has more premium materials. And it's the same price. So if you get it on an eBay or something like that. So you can find the deal on it. It really is the thing. Granted, I guess that could be said about any knife. But I'd love to hear your comments. Does anybody have both the Iridium and Mini Iridium? Which one do you prefer? They're very much, honestly, I don't know that there's much of a difference other than the size. So if you like a little smaller, a little lighter weight, then you go with the Mini Iridium. If you like a little larger knife, little thing that feels a little more substantial, then you're going to go with this. I will say that this feels, if you even look at it, it looks thicker. Actually, let's do that. Let's do a little comparison here. And I don't have the Mini Iridium specs in front of me. Definitely a fatter blade, though. Now this is the spear point versus the reverse tanto. But if you just look, you can, even with the naked eye, you can see this thing's a beefier knife. Like I said, feels like you could do some work with it. So if you need a knife that has a little more juice to it, a little more beef, then you want to go with the Iridium. The Mini Iridium will suit you just fine if you don't need that. You're using it for opening boxes, basic lightweight tasks, perfectly good knife. Granted, I don't prefer either of those for a lot of work tasks. When it comes to those, that's when I pull out good old Civivi Yonder. I can't stop showing this thing on this channel. This is like my favorite. Now, let's see the size comparison on that too. Why don't we do that? Definitely, let's straighten this here. Similar to the Iridium size. So, you got about an inch. Civivi Yonder is the one that I'm going to pull out for the work. I just like the way it's built. I like its blade style. It's got a nice belly to it. Just great. But again, not about the Civivi Yonder. Although Zach in the Wild, I love that thing. I'm so glad you created it. Kind of looking for more variants and seeing what that looks like. I wonder if there'll be a premium variant someday. It's so good, I might even get a premium variant. And I am a budget knife guy. Knives are tools that are meant to be used. I'm not saying I won't use an expensive knife, and I'm not saying expensive knives don't have their place in this world, because they do. I've seen some very beautiful knives, and they do great work when they're used. Some nice Spydercos. Some Benchmades. I know those get sometimes kind of a weird reputation, but I mean, again, very good knives that can be, expensive knives can be good knives. I guess what I'm saying is I don't devalue a knife because it's expensive. I certainly give it the value that it deserves. And I think there's a reason that they're more expensive. I think that steel is better, and they might have some intricate details on locking mechanism and how they machine everything and the quality control. I understand. I am not discounting the price of a knife that's 150, 200, 300, 400, 500, $600. Sebenzas, those things look great. I've never handled a Sebenza. Looks awesome. Would like to handle one. Probably will someday. We'll take a look at it and just give my honest review of it. But my everyday carry is the Yonder right now. It really, first and foremost, I pull out other ones. I rotate them in there. Well, again, when I go to the office, my Kershaw Iridium ends up being the thing for me, as that Kershaw Iridium is that executive look, and I work in an office setting, so I like to have my executive knife. Much like, what's funny is that I will say the big difference is jimping on the Mini Iridium, way less aggressive. This far more aggressive. So definitely a difference in the jimping. In any case, I mostly carry the Yonder. Would I carry this one? If I was going on a hike, I might carry it. I know it's not the lightest, but I might carry it. Granted, again, I don't want to get it wet. For me, great knife, awesome to collect and have. Wear it kind of casually to places just for kicks, hanging out wherever, it's fine. It doesn't matter. But when I'm looking for a knife to work with outside, I want something that's corrosion resistant, which D2 steel is not, which is why I also don't carry the mini Iridium when I'm doing outside tasks on the old chicken farm. I carry the Yonder because that 1428T steel is corrosion resistant. It has a much better corrosion resistance, so it works well. I certainly look for those, those more stainless steels for the corrosion resistance for any outdoor work because, frankly, outdoor stuff, you're likely to get it wet. Not always the case, but most of the time it feels like you're going to get it wet. But in any case, enough of my babbling. This is a long video. If you like the Kershaw Iridium, I'd love to hear what you like about it. I'd love to hear your experience with it. I'd love to hear what you use it for, how you carry it. Any of those kind of things would be awesome. If you maybe you prefer the mini Iridium to the Iridium like me, I'd be interested to know, or the other way around. Maybe you prefer it the other way if you've handled them both. In any case, if you like what you heard and saw today, hit the like and subscribe button. I would love to have you. I'd like to talk to the community. I'm looking to get I got a couple other things. I got a couple of cold steel items that I need to review coming up here soon. One of them may require me to show my face. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how you'll feel about that after you see it. That could be worse. So, channel is obviously growing. Slowly growing, very modestly. But if I show my face, it might not grow at all. I don't know. We'll see. In any case, like and subscribe. Thanks for joining me today. Love to hear from you in the comments. Hope everybody has a great day, and we'll see you next time on The Slice of Knife.